I don't have many followers on YouTube yet, so I can't imagine many people will join this, but just in case some of you are out there. I've had a lot of people ask me a lot of questions, and rather than having to answer them many times, it might be worth just coming on live. One of the main questions I get that causes a lot of people suffering is around like death and people passing away. So I wanted to try to help people understand a system for dealing with that. Now, one of the main prerequisites is that you can't use this system that I'm about to share. It's not a belief-based system. You can't just believe it'll work and it'll work. It's not about that. It's a logical, like, you have to understand, like learn it, understand it, develop the ability, and then apply it to your life. Otherwise, the ability won't appear. And the problem with belief is, if I tell you, oh, here, something in my hand, there's money in one of my hands, pick one. And if you get it wrong, you have to spend the amount of money you didn't win. Well, then that fear of being wrong will kick in straight away. So having to believe automatically creates a type of suffering. That's why for this system, belief doesn't work. And the other thing we need to do is follow a logic, like an observable truth logic, a pure logic of observable truth, basically. It can't have any contradiction in it. So for this system, you need to understand at least one eternal truth, and that is that everything that appears is constantly changing. There's no way around that. There's nothing that you can be aware of that won't change. And if everything's constantly changing, we need to observe how it's changing. Because if we can understand how it's changing, we can guide that changing power. But if we don't understand it, then that changing power guides us. And that's where suffering comes from. No one really wants suffering, it just appears. And it's when suffering appears, we start to try to pay attention how to get rid of that suffering. So, in a way, even that which is bad is good. Suffering is a teacher. Now, the way things change can be observed. And if it can be observed and understood, then it's not random. And if it's not random, then we can understand it. So we can learn it. And if we can learn it, we can guide it. And if you observe how everything changes, everything in the universe changes in a similar formula. It appears, it develops, then it slowly gets destroyed until it disappears. Whatever, you put a house somewhere, you clear the space, bring all the materials, so the materials appear, you put them together, house appears, slowly over time it deteriorates until it's not there anymore. That's how materials change. But life forms are born, they go through aging, then they slowly suffer an illness or destruction and die. So if everything follows a logical changing procedure or formula, we can observe it. We can actually be aware of that system. And that's called cause and effect. Everything happens because something else created it. You can't say where it started or stopped. You might be able to say, oh, well, the circle's going like that, so the circle started there and stopped there. And I was born, I had my life, and then I died. It's cool, okay. But with birth comes death, same as with night and day. Everything in life is two extreme opposites. So you can't say the circle started or stopped at any one point. You can simply say it kept rolling. And I'm aware of it from here to there. So from this logical point to that logical point, there's a logic there. Now, cause and effect is the name of the changing when we can see it. So if I eat too much food and don't move, I'll put on weight. If I eat bad food, like off food, I will get sick. But if we can't see the cause and effect, like we can't actually see the pattern, so I can't see why I'm born in this body to these family, they call that cause and effect from previous existence or lifetimes. They call that karma. And all the karma and causation rolling together is called dharma. And anything that explains all the system rolling together is also called dharma. So this chat now is talking about dharma. And the reason people stress out with suffering, with death, is because we don't understand it. Same as a little kid gets afraid of the dark when the sun goes down. They don't understand darkness. They don't understand nighttime. So of course they're fearful. But someone who understands night and day, they just come in and soothe them. It's okay. It's just there's no light. You can even turn the lights on. So suffering and negativity appears when we don't understand something deeply, and life and death are part of a cycle. You can't separate them. So being afraid of death is as illogical as being afraid of night, something we can't stop coming. We always know it's there. We are born knowing that death is part of life, but we don't really unpack why. So suffering appears. Now, the system I'm about to share is not from me. I'm just sharing what I've learned. It's from a consciousness called Kitsigharba, or Holy Incredible Hell Bodhisattva, the last Buddha. And it starts with a story, which is a really cool story. The Kitsigharba was a monk, really high level, or nun. And in the life she was in, her mum was a bit crazy, and her mum was kind of killing and torturing small animals because she wasn't all there, you know. And she understood causation and karma, so she tried to explain to her mum not to do this. But her mum was already like trapped in this lifestyle, couldn't stop it. And so when she finally passed away, Kitsigharba knew her mum had created some weird cause and effect and karma. And so she wanted to help her be free from that. So she bowed to Buddha and bowed sincerely to ask Buddha to help her mum out of that karma. And eventually she passed out from exhaustion. She was bowing for that long. And while unconscious, she had a dream. And in the dream, the Buddha appeared and taught her a meditation technique. And when she woke up, she could remember the technique. So she practiced. And then one day, the sutra says one day in meditation, another space appeared in front of her. And everywhere Kitsigharba looked, there was suffering, like people getting pulled apart, put back together to get ripped apart again. And while she's like observing around at all the life suffering, another being appears in front of her and bowed to her and addressed her as, "O wise Bodhisattva." She was like, I'm not a Bodhisattva, I'm just here to help my mum. And the consciousness who, in the sutra, they translate it to Ghost King, the name of Ghost King. And so the Ghost King says, oh, only two types of life have the power to appear here. One are all the life you see repaying their suffering everywhere. And the other are not in suffering. To be in this space and not be in suffering, you must actually be a Bodhisattva. And Kitsigharba didn't realize it, but the technique she'd learned from the Buddha in her dream was actually so advanced, so by reaching it, she had in fact become a Bodhisattva. And she said, oh, well, okay, I'm just here to find the consciousness from my mum. And the Ghost King said, your bowing to Buddha was 100% successful. He already helped her out of here, so you can go. And Kitsigharba looked around at all the life in suffering, and her heart opened. She said, doesn't matter, I don't know who these beings are. Doesn't matter, they're not my mum. I don't think anyone should have this suffering. I don't want to leave anyone down here with this pain, this suffering. If I can't help every life out of this hell karma suffering, I don't have any reason to leave. I don't want to become a Buddha myself. And that intention was so pure, like so no ego in that idea, even to think that way, learn to actually have that in your heart and really mean it. And with that open heart intention, all the Buddha and Bodhisattva in all the different directions felt how sincere and how deep and no ego that will is. So in that moment, they all open their heart and share their wisdom, meditation. And according to the sutra, that Bodhisattva, Kitsigharba, her will is so incredible. Like only two main wills, two sentences. One is to help every life out of negative hell karma. And two is to help them awaken, to become fully awakened Buddha. Otherwise, they might fall back down. So the two wills are so incredible that they call Kitsigharba the incredible Will King. And for the respectful name to suit the will, we call Kitsigharba Holy Incredible Hell Bodhisattva, the last Buddha, out of respect for the will, to help every life before appearing as a Buddha themselves. And the way to connect to this Buddha is actually really not that complicated. It's quite simple, because the intention is to help every life out of suffering. So if you're in any suffering, they want you to try and find the solution to that suffering. So it's not that it's difficult, you just have to be sincere, and you have to have a system. So there's a mantra, there's a whole series of like sutras to go through it and read it. You can connect to them. There's free Dharma books everywhere, or just ask me questions if you have any. But the way to connect to it is simply sit like sincerely, or you can be anywhere, lie down, sit, even standing, whatever. Just inside, be a little bit concentrated and sincere. And I'll do this while I'm driving down the road, because if I see life that have been hit by a car, I try and connect them to Hell Bodhisattva as well. So yeah, just be really like still and calm, and inside, internally, just sincerely connect to Hell Bodhisattva. And the way I do it is I sometimes will take a physical, like a pose, and actually do a circle, make an Om sound, because Om and a circle represents life is perfect. So the life is perfect is because we are born, we age, and we experience suffering, and that suffering makes us want to learn how to not have suffering. So that cycle can be a perfect system for awakening out of suffering, or it can be just constant suffering, depending on what your intention. But the circle represents all the round angles aware of life, and life is perfect. And we say Om because Om is made up of 4 sounds. The first sound is Ah, universal sound of suffering. Oh, that's the cause of all the suffering. Oh, oh, is realizing what caused suffering. That's better. Get rid of soothing suffering. And the final sound is silence, because when you're free from all the forms of suffering, you don't need to make any noise. That's the theory. So we start this bowing with a Om, and just sincerely from your heart consider that consciousness, Hell Bodhisattva, and say gently, Holy Incredible Hell Bodhisattva, Kitsigharba, the last Buddha. Please help me and guide me to develop the wisdom ability to help every life out of suffering, and help all the life in suffering connect to better spiritual karma next lifetime. Thank you for your amazing wisdom and compassion. And then just gently bow your head, close your eyes, and then rebuild the center again. Hands float. Om. And there's even the mantra, it's pronounced Om, Paula, Morling, Twirling, Soha. And there's a song, I've got it on SoundCloud, an actual mantra where it cycles through it. And you just say the mantra. You can do that bowing whenever you want. Anytime you see someone in pain or suffering or passed away, anytime I know someone that's passed away, I bow to ask for Hell Bodhisattva to help them connect to better spiritual karma next lifetime. Because the idea of awakened consciousness is they don't have ego to go and force help on people. They just wait until people ask for their help. And it would be ego to go and force someone, go find someone on the side of the road and go, hey, you're not living properly. Come, let me show you how to live. That's too much. You need to ask, you need to create the cause. And so we can create the cause for other life. I'll do this video again. I'm just trying out the live function and seeing who's out there. Doesn't look like anyone joined me today, so that's fun. But yeah, I'll do more lives, and hit me up with any questions if you have any. And if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Have a lovely day. See ya.